Welcome back, Wayward Souls at the Double Tap In, episode 23.
Wow.
There
23
it is.
already.
23 already.
Yeah. Can you tell the
Primal.
coffee kicked in?
Yeah.
There was very little delay in that. Wow.
Yeah. It was much better. I appreciate that. So, yeah. So, we alluded to this episode and the end of last episode on whole cow, half cow, quarter, primal cuts. What should people get? What should people do?
You know, I got thinking about this when we were creating our list.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I put for airing of the grievances was basically the abyss of the home freezer. And what precipitated that was we have 4 freezers here at the Double Tap. We have a chest, we have an upright, and we have 2 refrigerators that have the obvious freezers associated with them. I go out to the chest freezer out in the Double Tap, knowing that's where I keep a plethora of meat, and I'm trying to figure out what's going to be for dinner. As I'm digging through, I find part of a cow that we purchased 2 years ago. We got a half cow, and they are the smallest little round steaks you've ever seen in your life. And I'm like, where in the fuck did these things come from? And then I look at the label and I went, oh yeah, that's fucking walnut. Yeah, got it. Yeah, the people we got the cow from named their cows, and this one happened to be walnut. So, and walnut, thank you for your service. You were tasty. And, but you end up with these, I'm not going to call them useless pieces of meat, but useless pieces of meat. What do you do with a round steak that's like this? So I ended up, and I made chicken fried steak out of them, which is fine. It's nothing goes to waste, right?
Right.
So getting back to buying a quarter cow, a half cow, or just buying what you want, it's all going to be a personal preference. If you've never done a quarter cow or a half cow, by all means, do one, because you'll experience a couple of things. The first thing you'll experience is you're going to realize that you're getting 170 to 200 pounds, depending on what size the cow is, of meat, for about, right now the going rate is about $5.50 a pound. Now, when you're thinking you're getting a bunch of steaks for $5.50 a pound, that's a hell of a deal. But you also have to remember that little round steak I got, and your ground is $5.50 a pound. So there's pros and cons to that. The biggest pro for me is you get to try a broad spectrum of cuts. You're going to have, depending on what you select. Now, you can Google a cut sheet for beef, and it'll show you all the different cuts, so on and so forth. But you have to keep in mind that if you select just tenderloin, you want all medallions, you're missing out on a bunch of steaks. You're missing out on your T-bone, your porterhouse, that sort of stuff, because in those steaks is a portion of loin. So you're going to be missing out on some of that. You have to keep that in mind. And the build sheets will say if you want this cut, you don't get these cuts, because they're all associated with that primal. So again, look at the build sheet, see what you can get, what you can't get, and give it a whirl. Try all the different cuts, because you're going to end up with stew meat. You're going to end up with burger and whatever cuts that you want to get. If you're doing a half cow, you'll get a little bit of everything. If you're doing a quarter cow, you're going to probably be asked to pick the front quarter or the hind quarter. We're going to get into some confusing things now. If you get a front quarter, you might not end up with, say, a porterhouse. You may, depend on where the cut line ends. I'm not 100% sure exactly where the break is, but you have T-bones, porterhouse, they all run together, and it all has to do with the size of the loin as to what the steak actually is. So you're going to miss out on a couple of those if you go with the front. If you go with the rear, you're not going to get a brisket. You're not going to get, if you go with the front, you're not going to get your top round, your bottom round, that sort of stuff. So you need to know a little bit about where your cuts come from when you order a quarter cow, and are you getting a front or a hind quarter? Again, if you're doing it and you want to do it once, that's great, and you may absolutely love it. You may love the variety. I have done quarters and I've done halves, and right now I'm to the point where I'm not going to do another cow. I know that I like certain cuts of meat. I also know that the more a cut of meat is handled at a butcher shop, the higher the price. So why not go buy the primal cut of meat, and I'll do the butchering. I'll cut the steaks that I want. I'll cut the roasts that I want and all that. And it's very simple. It's intimidating when you go spend $200 on a piece of meat. That's a 19 or 20 pound slab. And you come home and cut it into steaks. YouTube is your friend. And you're not going to go horribly wrong. Oops, I cut that one too thin. Oh, damn. It's still going to eat, and it's still going to eat well. So real quick, your primals are, there's 8 primals. It's chuck, rib, loin, round, flank, short plate, brisket, and shank. And how I eat beef, that I love a ribeye. I just absolutely love a ribeye. I think the marbling is almost perfect. Gives you the right amount of fat, right amount of meat, and it's just what I prefer. I go to cash and carry, Cisco cash and carry, and I buy an entire primal. Come back here, I get 20 steaks out of it.
Cool.
So then when you figure in your cost per steak, you're still well below the market price for that steak. Occasionally, Jennifer wants something other than those cuts. It's fine with me. We go to the grocery kitty or wherever and then pick up. We just did New York strip steaks, dry aged them. And if you check my social media, you will see them. Dry aged them for 2 weeks, dropped the weight, intensified that flavor, popped them on the charcoal grill, and they were mighty fine, mighty fine. But you're not limited to going to the freezer, my opinion, popping it open and finding that you don't have anything left other than these little teeny tiny round steaks. So,
yeah,
you have to know what you want. And you learn that by buying a quarter cow or half cow and figuring out, man, I'm a T-bone guy. I love T-bone, or I love porterhouse, or I love New York strip, or I love whatever the cut is. And then you can build off of that. And you realize that the cost difference between a whole cow, a primal, and individual steaks can be significant. You know, when you're looking at steaks that are $17 a pound versus your $5.50 from the whole cow versus 10-ish buying a primal, you have some decisions to make. And the best thing I can tell you all to do is figure out what cut you like based on getting a half or a quarter and making informed decisions. And it is not that difficult to cut your own once you do the research and figure out exactly what you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we split whole cows, we split half cows with a group of people. So when you're talking about getting a quarter of a cow, I'm thinking a half a cow that I split with a buddy, and now I think that might be the best way to go about that. Because now you're getting a variety from that whole half of a cow as opposed to just the front half or just the back half, front quarter, back quarter. If you guys can make that work, we've had the opportunity, and I think it's a high school in Delaware, Lower Delaware, that has a ag program. They grow a cow or two, they grow a couple pigs, and they sell them off, butcher them, and you pay something stupid low for these animals for the meat, and it's basically a fundraiser for their program, and the meat is phenomenal. I will say that is something that's really great about doing whole cow, half cow, quarter cow, whatever you're doing. In that sense, is that I think the meat is much better, much higher quality.
You know where it's coming from. You know what it's finished on. We discussed finishing beef in a previous episode. You know that, and there's peace of mind in that also.
Yeah.
You know, you buy primals and you buy the steak. You don't know the cow. I mean, Walnut. Thank you for your service. You were tasting. I knew where that cow came from. I knew what it was fed. I knew what it was finished on. And so, yes, there is a trade-off.
Yeah, we've done. I think my parents got a whole pig, and then we split it between our family. And then I think since I've been down here, we've gotten half a pig, or we split a whole pig, or something like that. And I thought the pig was better than the beef. And the pork chops, the bacon. I'm not. I'll eat scrapple if it's there. I'm not going to buy scrapple to keep at home. I just won't eat it. But the scrapple we got scrapple from this pig, and that shit was phenomenal.
Do you remember who processed the pig?
I have no idea.
So now we'll jump into pig real quick. You are 100% correct on the pig. The pig, you pick the cut you want, and the rest of it goes to sausage and scrapple.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with a pig. It's completely different than beef and how you process it. You don't end up with a shit cut in your pile from a pig.
Yeah.
The bone-in pork chops, the ribs, the pork belly is fantastic. The rest of it, I'm a scrapple connoisseur. I love scrapple. Settlersville, however you pronounce it, Meat Locker has the best scrapple there is. Now, Q and I will wrestle over this. He says it's Hughes. Hughes for me is number 2. Hughes, you can only get in Delaware. Both of them are good. I think the Meat Lockers is a little bit better when you pull it out, and when scrapple has a fat cap, that shit's going to be good. It has
to be.
Oh my God. Fantastic. So
what have we said in almost every episode?
Fat is
flavor. There it is.
Yep. So the last pig that we got, I specified I want I want these cuts. The rest of it, if at all humanly possible, I want in your scrapple, because it came from there. I want as much scrapple as I can possibly get from you all. And
so how much scrapple did you end up with?
it was only like 10 pounds. It wasn't, and they come in big bricks,
Yeah.
but it was like 10 pounds.
Yeah.
I wanted all bone-in pork chops. I wanted the
Mhm.
ribs. I wanted the Boston butt. I wanted that stuff.
Yeah.
I wanted some steaks, ham steaks, that kind of thing. And so it really reduced, but they do sausage that is also absolutely
Mhm.
phenomenal. Local Lions Club does a sausage sale every year. Their sausage sale is good. And I typically buy 10 pounds at least of their sausage, stick it in the freezer. Theirs is good also. So I have to balance between all the cuts to get the optimal amount in my opinion. But I certainly like getting the pig more than I do the whole pig or half
Oh,
pig
yeah.
more than I do the beef.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because sometimes it's been my experience, and this was before I got more into cooking meats. Some of the cuts from the beef, you're like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah.
And what I end up doing is like it goes in the crock pot, and like
Yep.
something in there, as opposed to how like the other options to have cooked it. And now looking back, it's like, oh, I could have done this, could have done that, and it was a Mississippi pot roast is what it was. So
There you go.
but the pig, holy cow! We are the pig that
Is it
we
holy cow or is it holy pig?
It's all holy. It's all holy. The pig that we got with my parents, I think its name was Root Beer. And then the cow that we split was Skittles.
Yep.
And man, did I love the taste of the rainbow. Holy shit. That thing was good. It was all good.
Yeah. No complaints. Even
No.
the odd cuts of meat that you end up with and you end up staring at it going, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
It still ain't bad.
No.
Nothing goes to waste.
Yeah. So you mentioned ham steak, and last year, we're coming up on a year ago, Rachel goes to a conference in San Antonio, and my mother-in-law and her sister come down to help me with work schedule, and then help take care of Harper, both while I'm home and then obviously while I'm away. But we're planning the meals, so while Rachel's gone, we really don't have to go anywhere to get anything. It's all like, this is what we're having, this is what we're making, this is the plan. And Rachel's like, when I was growing up, I remember mom making ham steak with stewed tomatoes and hominy a lot. So she likes ham steak, stewed tomatoes, and hominy. So that's one of the meals we pick up. And we get to that day where it's ham steak. And I'm telling my mother-in-law this, and she's like, I really don't like ham steak. I was like, what? So Rachel said that this is like one of your favorite meals. She's like, it's really not. I made it because Josh, her son, loved it, ate the shit out of it. Like they would make 2 ham steaks, family of 5. They would make 2 ham steaks. And from my understanding is Josh would eat most of one, and then the 4 of them would split the other one. And she was like, my dad made it all the time. I didn't like it. We made it because I knew Josh would eat it. I like stewed tomatoes, but I really don't like this. I was like, we can make something else. She's like, no, it's fine. So talking to Rachel later that night.
A mom sacrifice right there.
Right. And I was like, look, I don't like it either. Like, we got it because we thought you liked it. If you want something else, I am more than happy to make fucking anything else.
Anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember having ham steak as a kid, and I was like, this again. Which I feel like it was always like, I said that at every dinner. This again. And now what I would do for some of Mom's, like her meatloaf, some of the other recipes that I thought we were eating all the time, and it'd be like, man, that'd be good right now. Shit, I could go for some of that. But ham steak was never one where I was like, I could go for more of that. Like, just gets tough, dry, super salty.
Super salty. Yep.
Yeah. But we call and talk to Rachel that night. And I was like, hey, I thought you said that your mom loved ham steak. She does. And like, we're FaceTiming. I've got Harper with me, and I think her mom was in the other room, and she hears it, and she's like, no, I don't. No. And Rachel's face is like, what?
My life has been a lie.
Yeah. And she comes back and, Mom, I'm sorry. You guys can have something else. I was like, too late. We already made it. We're stuck. Like, there's gonna be leftovers when you get home. You can come home and eat this shit.
Just something about the ham steak and red eye gravy, and yeah.
No,
Just like it.
I might be able to, because we would always do a ham steak with pineapple juice, put pineapple slices on top of it, and I was like,
I'm gonna throw it in the frying pan, fry it, make red eye gravy, have it that way, and good to go.
Red eye gravy. That's with coffee in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you make regular coffee, and then you add regular gravy, and you add coffee to it.
It's a very thin. It's not like a thicker gravy. It's very thin.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, right. It's basically the ham drippings and coffee.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you remember at the Globe, they did, and I don't know if they did this frequently, but they did a scrapple gravy.
Yes.
Like a sausage gravy, but they did a scrapple gravy.
Correct.
You could feel your arteries getting clogged when you ate that shit. It was so good. Oh my.
I do that occasionally.
Yeah.
And it started accidentally. If you freeze scrapple in the block, when you unfreeze it, it is kind of mushy. So I wasn't going to waste it. So I ended up making scrapple gravy out of it. And it's decent.
Yeah.
It's decent. I didn't mind it at all.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of like cream chip beef and sausage gravy.
Yep.
And there is a brand of breakfast sausage. And I can't remember like the name of it off the top of my head. And I think they have a regular and then a spicy breakfast sausage. We didn't even get the spicy. We got the regular and made sausage gravy with it. And it had just the right amount of spice to it that the sausage gravy was a little spicy, had a little bite to it. Oh, it made the perfect sausage gravy.
For a long time, that was our Sunday, especially in the wintertime. Typically do not eat breakfast. It's just part of the fasting regimen that we do, except for Sundays. And I want Sunday breakfast. And when it's wintertime, so on and so forth, we'd break out one of those 1 pound containers that we got from the Lions Club that I mentioned earlier and make sausage gravy. If it was we run into it at the grocery kitty or whatever, get cream chip beef, get chipped beef to make cream chip beef.
Yep.
And here we go. Flavor jets have kicked in. I'm salivating already.
Right.
And we would rotate between making biscuits, making waffles, making crepes, doing that sort of stuff, and having, crepes, wrap them up like a breakfast burrito in a crepe.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. Put scrambled eggs in it, sprinkle it with a little bit of cheese, and have your sausage gravy, your cream chip beef, whatever. Smack your mama good.
We should have done a breakfast. We need to do a breakfast show.
Yes. Oh, I love breakfast foods.
Yeah. Like one of my favorite meal to go out for is breakfast. And I really don't care. I say I don't care where we go. I don't like IHOP, and I'll go to Denny's, but I'm not a Denny's fan.
No. Yeah. So now I can't speak for the General's Kitchen now because I've not been since Bob's taken over. I can't speak for I've not been. I hear great things.
It's fantastic.
But when Gus and Mary had it across the street from 74th Street, buddy, I'm telling you, and you talk about law enforcement, fire, EMS friendly. We got our asses kicked. It was a holiday. I don't remember which one it was. And we got our asses kicked all fucking night long. And the group of us going off shift and the group coming on, we all walked over to General's Kitchen. So there were 6 or 8 of us going in. And we sit down. Mary was a little old woman who owned it with Gus. She came over. She had smoker's rasp, the whole 9 yards. And what are you boys eating today? Kind of deal.
Probably had a heater hanging out of her lip.
More than likely.
Yeah.
And as we all do our orders and whatnot, it all comes out the same: steak and eggs. You boys look like shit. You had a rough night. Da 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 da. You need steak and eggs. You need a good breakfast to start your day. We look over, and Gus goes, well, "What the fuck do you want me to do? What am I going to do? Fight her for it? No, she's scrappy. I'm not touching her."
Yeah.
Oh my God, best of times right there.
Yeah. Yeah. So they moved. So they were across the street from 74th Street. Then it was the Coach's Corner or some shit like that. Never went back. I never went back. So now they're at 66th Street. But do you know what's going in at 65th Street and the highway? A new firehouse.
Yes, I do.
Right back.
The way it used to be.
Walking distance, the way God intended it.
Yep.
But we would
that's the grand design.
Right? When I was working at Station 3, or there's been a couple times I got held over, or I picked up the day half the next day and was at Station 3. And I'll plan my meals: breakfast, lunch, eat dinner with the shift. And then like if I stay the next day, it's either I'll stay and work until it's time to come home for lunch, or if I'm on that day half, I'll stay. I don't have plans for lunch and breakfast and lunch. So I usually I'll go there, and I'll never forget the one guy I was working with. I was like, "Hey, did you bring breakfast?" He's like, "Well, yeah, I got something. What are you thinking?" I said, "We're going to General's Kitchen." I said, "I'm in."
Yep.
Yeah, I don't give a shit what you got. Yeah, it'll still be there later. And,
that's right.
I usually go back and forth between the sausage gravy and a sausage, egg, and cheese on a biscuit sandwich. And every time I call and I get the sausage, egg, and cheese on a biscuit, the question is the same every time. Are you sure you want a biscuit? Yes, I am sure I want a biscuit. Well, our biscuits are different, and they're kind of delicate, and they fall apart. So it's probably going to fall apart when you eat it. I understand that. That's why I'm ordering it. I love the biscuit because it's that fucking good. I would like a sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich on a biscuit. Okay, but it's gonna fall apart.
That's why I'm ordering it.
Yes, I'm aware. I'll be there in 5. All right. I was like, seriously, just take my fucking order.
It's that firefighter again. He wants his fucking biscuit.
This stupid sandwich on a biscuit. What a dumbass. They're not wrong. I am a dumbass in total transparency.
But you also know what you like. Well, I'm looking at the transparency now with your green screen.
Right?
Are you fading away? Are you okay?
I need to get something to eat because apparently it's like Back to the Future.
I was just getting ready to say you're starting to fade in, fade out. Yeah. Don't pull out. Don't pull out, Dad.
Now we have to add breakfast to the list because there's a whole lot more.
Oh my God, yes.
God, I love
breakfast. For sure.
Yeah, and a good brunch. You can't go wrong with a good brunch. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So,
damn.
Well, yeah, right. God. Well, that's our time for today. So we hope you guys enjoyed talking about the different kind of cuts that you can get for whatever you're looking for. Take a chance, go out and experiment. Whole cow, half cow, quarter cow, whether it's a quarter of a half and you guys are picking, you're splitting it between a buddy or someone else or a couple other people, or you're getting that front quarter, that back quarter, whatever you're doing, go out and experiment with it. Like we said, you're not going to go wrong. I think the flavor, the quality of the meat is so much better. Like Mike said, you know where it's coming from. The pig, the same way. Holy shit, melt in your mouth good. Probably the best pork that I've ever had from a pig that we bought like that. And then once you get it figured out, then you can kind of determine where you want to go. If you like that style of cut, keep doing what you're doing. If you know that you like specific cuts, maybe the primal is the way to go, and go from there. So enjoy. Let us know what you guys are doing. We love to hear from you, and keep it going. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.